It's time for the Bookie and the Bettors Show, live from Baldini's Casino. Beat the Bookie. Make every bet count. Reno's #1 sports radio show is now on streaming platforms. Now, introducing the Bookie, Rob Kowalski, and the Bettors, Randy Wike and Nick Schulte.
Welcome to the Bookie and Bettors Show. I'm your special guest host, Nick Schulte, joined by my friend, Randy Wike, and our special guest, Len Stevens. This week we got crazy endings to Week 8 in football, going over some little World Series action, and talking Wolfpack basketball with our guest. So, welcome.
Thank you. Hey, one thing about football. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. You know, I was born and raised in Cleveland, so we had a week where we won a football game. So
it's looking up. It's looking up.
Yeah, you know, we're the only ones that would need an injury to win a game. You know?
That's right. So I think first, before we get into Wolfpack and everything, you want to just kind of explain to our listeners who you are. You've been an establishment here in Reno for a long time, but
I've been around a long time. Yeah, you know, I got here in 1986 as the head basketball coach at the university, and stayed there for 7 years. 7 years, and then moved to Switzerland. Coached 3 years professionally over in Switzerland. Then went back to college at University of California, Irvine for 7 years, and then decided to retire, which is 24 years ago. God Almighty! 24 years ago I retired. And, of course, loved Reno when I was here and had family here, so moved back here and ended up, you know, I don't know how, but ran the Chamber of Commerce both in Sparks and Reno for 15 years, retired again, and now I'm going on my 8th year with Junior Achievement in Northern Nevada. Perfect. This community has been a great community. I love the people here. Have a lot of my grandkids here and my 2 of my 4 children. So I just keep moving along, you know, just keep going and enjoying every minute of it.
Now, it's hard to believe. He's only 59.
Yeah.
He's done all that. and you know, Nick, I tell everybody, and of course, I've known Lenny for quite a while, this guy is a class act. And from not just the time he's been at university and the business endeavors he's been in, if there's one guy you say, who has been the greatest Nevada coach to be involved in this community? Most Nevada coaches move on, don't stay. This is a class act, and I mean from year one, Mr. Gentleman's right.
Well, it's been a great community. It's given me a lot and my family a lot, and you know, there's nothing I enjoy more than spending time and being involved in the community. It's been a great treat for me over the last a lot of years.
How long have you two known each other?
Oh God,
over 25.
Well over 25. Yeah.
Oh?
Yeah.
Are all the stories true, or?
I can't remember.
Good answer. That's a great answer. So cool. So, obviously, World Series wrapped up. I don't know if anybody was listening, but somebody last week said it was going to be the Dodgers in 5, even though I wanted the Yankees to win. So, got any thoughts on? Well, I mean, did it go the way you thought it was going to go?
Here's the thing I've got to ask myself, and I ask the viewers of this country. Game 1, Aaron Boone made some coaching blunders, and I look at again last night. And you had Garrett Cole get a little ruffled because you had some mistakes by the Yankee infielders and Aaron Judge in the outfield. Knowing fully well as the coach, and again, if I was coach, Yankees up 5-0, you're thinking, I want to bring Garrett Cole back for Game 7. We had all these little blunders. You still had the Yankees leading, but you could tell he was ruffled. Why would you not pull him at that point before Freddie Freeman laces the tying base hit, and pull him and get him ready for Game 7? I'm not sure. And then obviously the defensive move he made in Game 1 and Game 2, which really I'm still trying to tap myself and see what he's doing. I don't know if the Yankees lost it themselves. Obviously, Freddie Freeman had a career during the World Series. Have 12 RBIs. And a great guy. I mean, with all the things that happened with his family, his child this year. But who won it? Did the Dodgers win it or did the Yankees give it away?
Well, I'm a baseball fanatic, so Cleveland Guardians, Indians, born and raised in Cleveland. I literally have had the baseball package, MLB package, for the last since it started.
Yeah.
So I literally watch every single Cleveland game, and I grew up with them. My mom worked concessions at Cleveland Stadium when I was 12 years old and 10 years old and watched every game. But I can tell you this, the Yankees, obviously we have a great rivalry with them being in Cleveland, but you made a great point. The Yankees have stepped on their tongues, on their toes. They have made so many mistakes during this, from the first game to the fifth game. And when they played against Cleveland in the last playoff series here before this one, it was about the home run. And Stanton was unbelievable, and they had other guys. I mean, it was all home runs, and they kept the home run out of this series.
Well, and I really believe this. Again, playing the game and coaching not at that level. The Yankees, once they got behind, the big guys were pressured, and they tried to overdo things at the plate. Everybody's trying to hit it out instead of getting that one base hit and getting the rally going.
That's not their style.
No, that's not their style. And I think the big guys especially, I mean, Aaron Judge was horrible.
Yep.
It's like they've never seen a curveball. And I think they put too much pressure on themselves once they got behind. And, again, me personally, as bad as Aaron Judge was this series, and I know he's your Mr. Catalyst, he's your power hitter, drop him down in the lineup to fifth or sixth so there's not so much pressure of him batting, after really the two guys that you want on the lineup in Torres and Soto. Now you're putting pressure on him. Yeah. Drop him down and relieve that pressure.
Well, the other part of it is defensively, they were a joke. They couldn't make Little League plays.
How many unearned errors were there?
That inning where they gave up 5 runs last night.
That's what put the nail in the coffin.
I mean, every play was a dumb play. It was either a physical mistake, kept missing the ball, or a mental mistake. Not the what's his name? Cole, Garrett Cole doesn't run to first base. He assumes, you don't assume anything in baseball. Your job is when that ball's hit to the right side of the field, that you're going to cover first base if you're the pitcher.
You have a responsibility.
That inning's over then. You get out of it with 2 runs and you're in good shape. But
I will say, though, World Series winners on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Now, since we actually have a D1 and former professional coach here, just kind of back to Randy's point, going into these big games, I mean, how much do you kind of in your head game plan of like, hey, this is the way I'm going to go, and then at what point do you deviate from that, or is it just kind of each game is different, or you kind of like, hey, this is my plan, I'm sticking with it?
I never coached baseball, but I can tell you this: that in all sports, you dance with the one that brought you there, that type of thing. And again, I'll go back to what Randy talked about early. It was about mistakes. The question was, did the Dodgers win it or did the Yankees lose it? Well, the Yankees never gave themselves a chance to win it. I mean, bottom line, you could, on one side of the ball, you're not hitting home runs, but on the other side of the ball, you have chances to get out of innings.
Yep.
With just catching a fly ball and throwing the second to first, and you're not doing that, you're not going to win ball games. Bottom line. So there was just no fundamental way that the Yankees could survive everything that they were doing wrong. They just couldn't. Yeah. And we all know psychologically when those things happen, you're major leaguers. Yep. The whole game of baseball is catch, hit and run, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can't do 2 out of 3 of those, you're
got
going to be in
problems.
trouble.
You
You know,
got
it's
big
like
problems.
football with special teams, offense and defense. You know, you got to win those battles, and they didn't win any of them.
No, they didn't do themselves any
5-run
favor.
lead, a 5-run lead, and they literally gave them the 5 runs to get back into the ball game.
And I do believe that the first team in history to ever come down from a 5-run deficit in the World Series and come back to win.
But again, it was home runs, right?
Yeah.
That got them to the 5 runs, not 2 or 3 hits, none of that.
Back to that, you're trying
and that's where they're at.
You're going all or nothing, and that's going to work maybe 5 or 10%.
And the Dodgers
of the time.
did a great job of keeping the ball down, outside and low. Against their hitters, they kept the ball.
Balls were the best breaking balls I saw. For October especially.
Yeah.
Back in my day, it was tougher to throw during the summer when you had sweat coming down trying to throw the breaking ball. But in the cold, to get the snap that they got, oh my Lord.
Yeah, and that's what killed Cleveland. Is Cleveland, all of their pitchers are 96, 97, 98 out of the bullpen, and then you're off a little, you're down the middle, and they're going to blast you. They're going to blast you, and then you got that short right field fence.
Buehler and Yamamoto, they threw gems. And again, like I say, I know the Yankees gave at least 2 games away.
Yeah.
At least.
But that Dodger pitching staff was on, and Freddie Freeman, good job, Freddie.
Yeah, no, that guy was lights
Freddie
out.
Freeman, oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lights out. So.
Yeah, that's a heck of a lineup there. But again, Ohtani didn't do much, and they still were able to dominate the series. So,
I saw the stat. I think his final at bat, he was no home runs in his last 29 at bats or something. Which is,
and again, how much was he hurt?
But that's why the Dodgers, there's the comparison. The Dodgers were able to get hits, to get guys on base, to make plays.
Yep.
It wasn't just over the fence. Freeman hit a few, obviously, but the point was they scored in other ways. They put the ball in play.
Exactly.
So that was big.
Gave yourself a chance. That's all you can do. So you guys think Dodgers Yankees next year are going to be same teams, or you think it's one and done for the Dodgers, or is there
the Guardians will be in there next year?
Okay, I love the confidence. I love the confidence.
They did it this year without a starting rotation.
No, they
without a starting rotation.
They made a run.
Next year those guys will be healthy. Hopefully, Cleveland always has trouble getting. They need one more bomber to go with Ramirez and with Josh Naylor. If they can get one more, that trade they made for Thomas was a good trade. A really good trade. It paid off for them. Their young people, Rocchio. They have great defense, great relief pitching, but nobody that can go 5 innings all year.
Yeah.
Imagine what they did. There's no way that a team should be able to do that without a pitcher average. They didn't have a pitcher average 5 innings a game.
That's ridiculous.
So, amazing year for them.
And remember these 2 words. Free agency is going to change a lot again next year.
I just saw
with
today.
a lot of these veteran teams.
I saw today. Saw something today. The rumor is Soto's leaving the Yankees.
He's going to the Mets. Mark my words. You heard it here first, folks.
So
New York Mets.
Speaking of free agency, because I think we all kind of know where Randy stands, but where do you stand on the transfer portal in the NCAA? If you can talk about it. If you can't,
I can. I can talk about it. We've talked about it a lot.
I'm sure you have with this guy.
I really feel that it's definitely, there's no, I don't even think feeling. I know that it's hurt basketball. There's no doubt about it. When I look at rosters now, we were talking about that. I was talking with Coach about that the other day. They have like 7 guys on the team that are 22 years of age or older this year.
Amazing.
7. This will be the last year now, and that's the good thing.
Because they got
pandemic.
That extra
era
year
is now over this year. So no freshmen on the team. There are no days where you get a Nick Davidson, over the last few years. There's no day where you get a Nick Davidson, you redshirt him for a year, you work with him, you develop him, and he comes in and he plays. That hasn't been the case for any team over the last 3-4 years. And it's unfortunate, what's the coach's name at Virginia? I just forgot his name now. Been there at Virginia a long time. just resigned a week ago.
Was it not Bennett? Not Bennett.
Oh, God, it'll come to me. But anyway, it's hard. It's hard coaching guys in that period. Where's the fine line? Nowadays you can, and hopefully this will all get better now that the pandemic's over. But, you get to the point where, where's that line where you discipline them or where you have to keep them, that kind of thing, so.
You got to be able to coach them.
That's and then your roster. You walk into as a coach. When we walked in, we had a list of high school kids all the way up and down the line, and a couple of JC guys. Mm-hmm. Now they spend all the year. Coaches are spending all their years watching film of other teams, of other players. Now, who might be a transfer? So you have to know every college team so that you can start getting ready to put a team together for next year, assuming that you're probably gonna lose 5 or 6 a year, guys.
And that's the thing. You got teams now with 7 or 8 transfers. Yeah, so as a coach, I wouldn't want the job. 7 or 8, and you're gonna realize you're probably gonna lose 4 or 5 of those again next year. So the involvement and the revolving door, if you will, is constant.
It's hard to build it.
The thing about the transfer portal, in my mind, it makes basketball a little more parity because you're talking 12 to 13 players. Mm-hmm. Football, I just read yesterday, they're anticipating 1,850-plus kids to transfer from college football just in the FBS level.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And folks, I know you've heard me complain and bitch about this
just
before.
A few times, I'm sure.
But as you're not a coach anymore. You have to be an administrator. The X's and O's are out of the game. And again, I don't have the luxury of being Roll Tide. I cry blue. And when you're out of that Power 5 conferences, it's going to hurt us.
It's tough.
And how do you recruit and say, I'm going to give you $20,000 when if he's a superstar? They're getting up to $1 million or more.
20,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
What I heard.
20,000 is nothing.
Was it Archie Manning stayed an extra year because his final year in college paid him $28 million? $28 million to play in college. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. I mean, it'd be more than his pro contract.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's not just the men anymore.
Yeah, it's all across the board.
Think about this.
Olivia Dunn.
I mean, there were women in college basketball making more money than women in the WNBA.
Oh, yeah, no, I bet.
A lot of it. So they have to take a pay cut to go to the pro level.
Yeah, I think
so.
And we
Angie
are
Reese
where we are, but
that
I plead with you, NCAA. I plead with you. I know we can't take it back. It's here forever. But really mandate it. You came out and you initially said a kid couldn't transfer more than one time. That hasn't happened. As Coach said, we got kids playing at 25, 26 years old. Now that's hopefully going to be done. But tweak it this year. And do not allow a kid to transfer within his own conference. Well, I don't think it's right.
I'm going to give you another side of that. The NCAA has zero power. The power is with the 3 conferences, with the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12. Not even the ACC. Yeah. Those are the 3 conferences. And all these rules are in place solely because of those 3 conferences. Because why? Because money is power. Mm-hmm. Money talks. And we talked about this once on a show quite a while ago. When this first came about, if you understand the history of NIL and portals, it's literally maybe a little over 10 years now. I think it is over 10 years. There was a time when the big schools, the SEC, the bigger conferences said, hey, we want to have improved dorms just for athletes. We want to have them have special meals and nutrition and all this kind of thing. And we also want to give them a stipend. And the small colleges in Division I outnumbered those 3 conferences. Yeah. So they voted it down. They had the vote. And they said, no, we can't afford to do those kinds of things. We're going to vote that down. Well, again, money talks. Those small colleges are now fighting the thing that if they would have agreed at that time to say, yeah, we're going to give $1,000 a month, every kid at every level would have been happy.
Yep.
They would have been happy to say, okay, you're going to get $1,000 stipend every month, and you're going to have your nutrition and all that, and it would have all worked itself out. But when they said no, now the scheming went on. First was the portal. There was you could transfer and not have to sit out a year. Then came the money. Well, now the NCAA has absolutely zero power. When Tennessee was supposed to be punished for illegal recruiting of middle players, and they said, wait a minute, everybody's doing this, the NCAA said, okay, we're not even going to get involved in this. The NCAA, what they're worried about right now is those three conferences breaking away from the NCAA, getting their own TV contracts, not giving any money to the end, having their own tournaments, putting everything on themselves. And it's coming because you hear the talk already. Ohio State has been talking about it. Alabama's been talking about it. The conferences are now meeting to talk about that. I said this a few times back, and we are not that far away from seeing a split of the major conferences and away from the haves being the haves and the have-nots.
And going along those same lines, Len, what is the future of the Mountain West?
So my feeling on the Mountain West is that and this is a tough one, but my feeling on the Mountain West, and I don't know everything, so I don't know all the parameters of it, but I really felt that the Mountain West was in a position of power originally. It was the Mountain West against Oregon State and Washington State. And I don't know, again, what went on behind the scenes, so I could be way off on what I'm saying, but it seemed to me anyway that the Mountain West had more power than Oregon State and Washington State did. If all the teams in the Mountain West would have just said, hey, look, you got a choice. You can come with us or just play as an independent. You two just play as an independent. We're not going to schedule you. You either come with us to the Mountain West, be a part of the Mountain West, and we could change the name if you want. We'll do all of that, but we're not going to play you, and you two decide where you're going to go. They had no place to go.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, Len does the color play-by-play for Nevada basketball with John Ramey. Nevada basketball. Where are we, 24-25?
We're exciting again.
I like it.
I'll tell you what, I just love this coaching staff so much. We lost a lot last year. Obviously, we lost Blackshear and we lost Lucas, and we lost some people that really mattered. But this team, watching them practice, this team is going to be so much fun. They have way more depth than they had last year. How about this? You've got a 6'9" point guard starting, who is really good. You got 6'10" Nick Davidson coming back. You've got a young man from Texas coming in. Brandon
Love.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a name of Brandon Love and you're that tall?
Yeah, he's 6'10", and he is really a good player. You have Trey Coleman looks really good. I think he's going to have a great year this year.
They've got him as high as, obviously, defensive player in the Mountain West, but potentially a Mountain West player of the year. Trey
Coleman is really a solid player. Then you have DeSalle. DeSalle.
And he's the Fresno State transfer.
He's the
right?
Fresno State kid, and I'm telling you what, he can shoot the heck out of it. He's 6'5", Coleman's 6'6", 6'9", 6'9", 6'9", for all intent and purposes.
KJ's back.
Then you got KJ back at 6'10", but a kid who's been a big surprise for them has been a young man out of Oklahoma State, Justin McBride. Now, in the two scrimmages, I didn't get to see the scrimmages, but the two scrimmages, he was their second or leading scorer in both of those scrimmages off the bench. He only played about 3 minutes a game at Oklahoma State. They say that he had a double-double in 14 minutes of one of the scrimmages.
Now, he's got the high vertical jump, too.
Oh, my God. He's got it. He scores. He just is slasher. He's athletic as all get out. He's 6'7", and he's only a sophomore. So he's going to be around here unless he gets gets bought somewhere. Yeah. But when you look at this, they have a really high-quality team. And
with
then
depth.
And the biggest thing, to me, they have is the glue that has held them together for the last couple of years, Daniel Foster. Now, everybody shakes their head when I talk about Daniel Foster and like, well, he can't shoot it. Yeah, he can shoot it a little bit. He's not a great shooter. But what he gives, if you were a coach and you just watched Daniel Foster play when he's in the game, he makes more big plays without the basketball than any young man I've seen in Nevada, and I don't know if I've ever seen one. He gets charges. He gets key rebounds. He defends anybody on the floor. He makes plays, and he is relentless about using his body in any way, shape, or form to make something happen.
He's all in.
You don't have guys like that on teams. Yep. They all come in. They all want to be the guy that scores baskets. And he is so valuable, and it took me a while to see it. I mean, 2 years ago when I looked at it, I just why are they worried about if Daniel Foster's leaving? And then last year, having watch him a whole year and just study him and say, why is it? Why is that the coaches love him? And then you go and you watch a practice and you watch him play, and it's he does what nobody else does, but it has value. It's one thing to say a guy hustles.
Yep.
It's another thing to have the value that what he does makes a difference in winning, losing basketball games. So I'm telling you right now, Monday night, they start against Sam Houston State. They got a lot of home games to start out the year. This team is going to be, I think, really exciting to watch. We always got to talk about defense because the last couple of years, Nevada's, if they've had a question mark, it's been, how solid can they be? How consistent can they be defensively? And that takes a little more time. But I know one thing, just in watching practices, they're spending so much time on it. And the thing that's great about this team is that they have enough depth where they can say, hey, you're not guarding,
Yep.
Get out.
Take a seat.
Here comes somebody else because they have players that are going to score. I think they're going to be it's going to be easy, not easy, but it's going to be attainable for them night in and night out to be at that 80-point mark offensively. And my goal, my number always as a coach has been if you can defend to 72 or less points, you're going to have a very successful basketball team. I don't know why it's 72, but just in all the games that I watch and that I see, I know 72 seems to be a key number at winning and losing basketball teams games. If you've been doing
it for a few years now.
Well,
your bettors out there, take notes. 72 might be a key,
but 72
key number to look
me is the key number. If you can hold teams to 72, you're going to have a very successful year because there are good players. I mean, we're talking about great athletes.
Oh, 100%.
We're talking about legitimately about men, because of the pandemic. We're not talking about some freshmen coming in at 175 pounds.
And folks,
we're talking big boys.
The one thing you got to, and Coach mentioned it a minute ago, I can't remember a Nevada team as long as this group. To have this many 6'9", 6'10". You got a 6'9" point guard. Magic Johnson. Of Magic Johnson. That's our point guard size, 6'9".
Well, you look at the best year we had when Eric was here, when Coach Musselman was here, the Twins were 6'6" guards.
Yep.
When you have long guards, long-bodied guards like that, the flexibility you have on offense and defense, if you have good athletes, is you can take those big guys at 6'6", not many schools have that, where you could take your guards down low, put them, on the block a little bit. You spread the floor very, very effectively, and you can isolate on players inside. And Kobe is going to be that kind of guy. Saunders, he's one of those guys. He's a great three-point shooter, outstanding. I don't know. I haven't seen enough to say he's in that Lucas class, but I would say this, just watching him, I think he's not as streaky as Lucas. And not to say that Lucas was like missed six in a row. He didn't have a lot of nights like that, but I think this guy is one of those guys that's going to be, a 3 for 5, 3 for 6 guy. He's going to do other things. He's going to post you up inside. I look at Coleman. I would venture to say Coleman's going to be worth 2 or 3 3-pointers a game. I think that's a big thing. And then, of course, Giselle, he's a guy that had, 42 threes or something last year, 48.
That's the other thing. Mark my words this year. Now, granted, Lucas was a great three-point shooter. I don't know what happened in the tournament game in the second half where last 3 minutes he didn't even really get the ball. But this team will be able to shoot from outside. And one other note I want to make before we move on to football. There are some kids, if you look up right now, some high school kids and some other college kids that have Nevada high on their list, because we're going to lose a bunch this year. But I'm going to tell you right now, Nick, you heard it here first. There's 8 big-time, and again, I can't comment it because I don't know, but I know that got Nevada high on their list, and they're going to be coming in for a look at Nevada, and they are major Division I kids, and some from Power 5 conferences, and I'll leave it at that.
That's nice. Just last thing, the conference itself. I think it'll be Boise and Nevada. I think are the top 2 teams. Just looking at the recruiting process, looking at the players that they have, the experience that they have. I think San Diego State and New Mexico are just about a half inch, maybe to an inch beneath them. Okay. San Diego State surprisingly didn't have the kind of recruiting year with the nil that I thought that they would have, with their reputation, the success they had. They have good players, but I don't think that they have the depth that they've had over the past years, as much depth. New Mexico always seems to be very strong offensively. They're not a team that
they give up over 72 a game.
They give up over 72 a game, and they lost some inside players that left last year. Colorado State, I think, for me, Colorado State is always one of the best coached teams in the conference. That Nico Medved does a great job, but he lost a lot. He lost Isaiah Stevens. And he was a great leader. He's in the NBA. He made an NBA team.
And they lost another kid to the transfer.
Yeah, they lost another kid. They lost that Roddy. Who's also in the NBA. Yep. But and then UNLV sort of surprised me. I really expected them to have a banner year recruiting wise because they have the funding to do it. Yep. They have a great facility. To me, UNLV will be the team in the Mountain West that if anybody leaves to go to the major conferences, UNLV has everything going for it with playing in the football stadium now, the Raiders Stadium, basketball seats 19,000. You saw. I don't know if you saw the game against Boise State.
Yes,
in football.
I watched it 3 times.
42,000 people. Well, so they have what it takes to play at that level. They have money. Yeah. They have
they got a market that is attractable to all sports now.
So anyway, but I'm surprised it doesn't look on paper anyway like they matched their losses from last year's team. So we'll see. But I really believe that Nevada, Boise State are going to be the 2 teams that are good.
Go back.
Yeah. So
You got a prediction? I mean, and how far they make it this year?
no,
Or-
I think we'll go to the NCAAs. I think I get nervous because everybody's talking about this year. The big question is Mountain West going to be a legitimate 2 or 3 team league to get to the NCAAs? So the preseason will have a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Nevada's got the one conference or the one tournament in
Charleston,
Charleston, where they're going to play some, quad 1 and quad 2 teams, and that's going to play a major role in their success early because they have so many home games, and they're against, they're not against patsies, but they're not against high quad teams.
We open up with Vanderbilt. And I think we'll play Seton Hall or Iowa State, I think, in the second game. So you're talking about Seton Hall just a couple years ago won the NIT. So.
No, those are quad 1, quad 2 games that, and they don't quite match the schedule that Nevada has in terms of quad teams. But that is an important weekend for Nevada to establish themselves.
Absolutely.
And they can get off to a great start because almost all their games, their non-league games this year, are home. So it's a great start. The bad part about the schedule, the last thing, and I'll leave you on this one, if you look at Nevada's conference schedule, I think it's 5 of the last 7 games in the conference are on the road.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, they have almost all of their home games are at the front part of the season. And this year, because of the number of teams in the league and that, they're starting the conference season before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, and like you say, first game is November the 4th. That's amazing.
Yeah, we used to start practice on October 15th, but it's all changed. So anyway, the bottom line is this is going to be a fun team to watch.
Exciting year.
They have really great players, I think, in terms of replacement players from last year's losses. And just watching them in practice, you can see, the coaching staff's amazing, but you can see that these kids are really together. They get along. They're listening. And this staff, this is as good a staff as you're ever going to find. They're so in sync with the players. It's going to be another exciting year.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year. Well, I got to ask you, since you're a Cleveland guy, Deshaun Watson going down, was that the catalyst that Cleveland needed to take the next step? I mean, they beat the Ravens.
It appears that way. And again, like I follow all this stuff. I mean, I'm on YouTube watching, the pregame and postgame shows. I was very disappointed. I'll say this publicly: I have never been a Kevin Stefanski fan as a head coach. I think he is a brilliant offensive coordinator. What he did last year with 5 different quarterbacks is amazing. But I don't see what I never saw from Kevin Stefanski, and this is, again, personal, is leadership. Involvement with players. You look on the sidelines and you see he had that. His plays here, and it was him, his plays, and the quarterback, and he did a great job in that area. But I always felt that was missing from the Cleveland franchise since he's been there, even before. Of course, you're talking 1-31 or something. So Cleveland has messed this up for a long time. But the bottom line is, if Watson hadn't gone down. We would not have won against Baltimore or anybody else, for that matter. I don't know what happened to him. Obviously, we all know he was a great quarterback, but I tell you what, he looked like his pants were on fire in every game. He just never showed any confidence. He never showed any, relationship with the team, with the players. I just think that part of it was missing.
No chemistry.
And Jameis Winston, I mean, he's going to throw some interceptions. Let's face it. But the bottom line is, if you're in the NFL and you're a all-pro quarterback, which Watson was at one time, and you can't score 20 points in a football game,
that's a problem.
I think something's wrong.
Yeah,
I think something's wrong, especially when you have a great defense. But that poor defense, it was three and out. It was 3 and out every single series. So the defense never got any rest. So the answer to your question is, I hate to see anybody get injured. I hate to see it happen that way.
No, we don't want to promote injury.
But I also don't like what Stefanski said when they asked him when he was playing, why do you keep playing him? And he said, he's our best chance to win. That was obviously a lie. That was not the truth.
That is correct.
That is not. So anyway, go Browns.
I like it.
Maybe they'll win through 2 or 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, you guys are playing the Chargers at home this week. Currently, Chargers getting a 1.5.
They got the Harbaugh brothers 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, there you go. That's true.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully they'll end on a good note. But this is typical for Cleveland. Unfortunately, I've been through this for, as long as I can remember, which is 70-some years. It's been devastating. I was there when Cleveland left for Baltimore, and I've seen the Indians up and down. But now you could talk a little bit about the Cavs.
That's true.
They're 5-0.
I like it.
I don't know anything about the Cavs, though. I don't watch pro basketball, so I can't tell you anything about them. So thanks for that question about the Browns.
Not a problem.
Let me vent.
That's what we're here for. So real quick, doing a Week 9 review. Tonight's game, we got the Texans at the Jets. Somehow the Jets are a 2-point favorite, Randy?
Aaron Rodgers, I've said it every week, and I know I get penalized for it, needs to start playing golf. But with that being said, I mean, let's face it, let Drake May drive all the way the full length of the field this past week to get beat. He's on national TV tonight. Jets are going to win this game. And they are in fact, I thought it was a pick 'em initially. Some places it was. Jets win this game at home.
Wow.
I'm liking the Titans. I'll take the Titans with the points all day. The Jets haven't proven to me they can win a game.
Aaron?
I mean, they've won a few games, but when it comes down to it, they just.
Aaron, you lose tonight. I'm sending you new golf clubs and new golf shoes.
All right, so Randy's taking the Jets. Nick's sticking high on the Texans. All right, then coming to some of our Sunday games, early slate. You got Bills, Dolphins. You think Dolphins have turned the table at this, or currently Bills -6?
Josh Allen right now, I think, is playing the best of maybe any quarterback in the NFL. I like his surroundings. I like the players he's got around him. I don't think there's the Dolphins may cover the 6. I don't think so. I have the Bills winning 31-14 in this game, and I just think the Bills are too tough at home.
31-14. So you like the under? Under 49?
I like the under.
Okay.
Wow.
They went under this past week, and I had the Bills game over against the Seahawks, and it was 31-10.
Yeah. So you're just going under? You like the Bills too? Bills and under?
Bills and under.
Bills and under, Randy. I'm not touching this one because Bills should win, but you never know what kind of Dolphins team you're going to get. So how about Cowboys and Falcons? Currently Falcons -3 at home.
This Cowboy team, and did you watch? And again, not to hammer on Jerry Jones. I had no idea what his interview was on his show or whatever this week. I don't know where he was going. He was talking about scholarship, 5 scholarship players, 4 scholarship. What are you talking about? These are NFL players. And this team, if Dak doesn't get it together this week, I can see the dissension on the sideline last week against the Niners where they're not high-fiving, and it reminds me of Coach Ken Wilson here in Nevada. The kids weren't high-fiving each other. You could tell there's dissension, something going on. This Cowboys team is in a must-win. Season's over. They lose this week.
I would agree.
Cowboys have been in must-wins for the last 3 years.
So are you going heavy on the Cowboys, or are you staying away from this one?
I'm not touching this game. If I had to, in fact, I will. I'm going to take the over in this game. I think Cousins has a big day, and I think Dak has a big day, but I'm not going to take the Cowboys. I'll take the over.
Randy's taking the over. I'm not touching the total, but I will take the Falcons -3 all day long on that one. So next one up, you got Broncos and Ravens. Ravens coming off, obviously, the loss in Cleveland. They bounced back against the Broncos. Are the Broncos kind of the unexpected team here that just comes out of nowhere?
If you're in the 38-point pool, folks, Ravens 38-10. Take the 38-point pool. Hopefully you draw or select the Ravens. This is a massacre waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Broncos getting 9. I think defense, we talked about how important defense is earlier, so we'll see. But Nick's taking the Broncos -9. Randy's taking Broncos +9. Randy's taking the Ravens -9.
Ravens is one of my reverse teasers here, to get that bigger spread. The Ravens, and actually I think one of the game you're going to talk about next, I have them as 2 of the 3 on that. With the Eagles being the 3rd. Just FYI, folks, big landslides, bigger than 2 touchdowns.
If you're going to beat the Ravens, you got to pass.
You got to be able to throw the football.
Gotcha. And then jumping over, I think, to the afternoon games, you got Rams, Seahawks, and Lions, Packers. Anything here stand out to you?
Well, the Lion-Packer game is a marquee game.
100%.
And again, if you look at this game and you look at the schedule, it's a shame that we don't have them playing at 5 o'clock on Sunday night. This is a great game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you right now, this could be 2 of the teams battling when you really look at it in the NFC Championship. Packers are going to surprise here. I'm telling you right now, and I am a Lion fan. I have the Lions winning the NFC. Packers beat them this week.
Oh, so you taking Packers money line? Or you want the points?
I'm taking Packers money line.
Packers money line. Anything on the Rams Seahawks or?
No, the other game I think is another one that you really got to look at. The Raiders are going to possibly make some trades before the trade deadline. Bengals, this is another game right in their wheelhouse. Burrow came on last week a little bit. I like the Bengals big here. I have them 34-17 against a crumbling Raiders team.
You think
who
the
may
Raiders
lose
could put
Kuntz and Crosby?
You think they could put up 17?
Yeah, because unfortunately the pass defense for Cincinnati is a little suspect.
There. So you got to have a quarterback though to pass it.
Well, I think depending on who they come out with, Minshew will probably start, right?
We'll see how that works.
I've got a 34-17, but again, this is another one of those games. Could be blowout. You might be eating popcorn at halftime.
Gotcha. And then going on, I think Sunday night you got the Colts Vikings. Vikings -5.
How is the Packer game not the prime time game for this?
You look. I mean,
have you guys been talking to the NCAA committee when you guys are doing your scheduling for TV?
You like any of those? You staying away from that one?
The Vikings, I think this week at home. Again, you got a little quarterback turmoil. You've got Len's favorite quarterback from last year, Joe Flacco, obviously going to be making the start.
Favorite quarterback.
But you got Anthony Richardson. It seems like there's a little turmoil with the way they handled the situation. And again, the same scenario. Anthony Richardson was their quarterback. Now he's down, and Flacco gives them the best chance to win now. Yeah. I don't understand that.
But and I don't want to get in all of it today, but I mean, it seems like the NFL has a quarterback development problem because you got 8 players that are top round draft picks.
Well, let me just rip through these real quick, folks, and then I know we're getting ready to close the show here. Anthony Richardson, who's only 22, is benched. Bryce Young for Carolina, 23, benched. Trey Lance, 24, benched. Justin Fields, who was a starter just as of last year, 25 benched. Will Levis is 25 benched. Zach Wilson is 25 benched. Mac Jones is 26 benched. And Kenny Pickett, who was going to be the coming of the God the last couple of years, he's benched. These are all young quarterbacks that have been benched.
But go back in history right now in the last 5 years. So look at Baker Mayfield. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at who's the other kid I'm thinking of that had a bad first 3 years. There's like 3 or 4
quarterback from the Seahawks, right? Geno Smith, wasn't he benched? For
no, but he's talking the young kids that were in the draft.
But these guys that were there's like 4 or 5 of them right now that I saw that like at the beginning they were like dead, and now they're coming back and leading teams.
Yeah. And again, these are all young guys. They will bounce back.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's not a quarterback development problem. It's an offensive line problem. If you don't have blocking, it doesn't matter what kind of quarterback you are.
That's correct.
So, and then we actually have a special treat here for everybody today. You guys are familiar. Baldini's is bringing back the awful burger. What that means, it's awful big and it's awful good.
Yeah.
I eat lunch right before
available
I came.
starting tomorrow. It'll be served in our over-under bar.
Wait a minute.
7 days a week.
The big guy's got to have enough room.
Look at the awful.
Oh, folks.
Does that bring back memories?
Oh, I'm going to tell you, this is good. Oh, this is good.
The original. Same one that was served at the Little Nugget downtown. It's great. It's awful big, awful good.
Oh, my God.
We'll be here 7 days a week inside the over-under bar. So that starts tomorrow.
Well, I have it all over my face, folks. Great show, Nick. Great show.
Thanks, guys.
Len Stevens, thank you, buddy.
My pleasure. It's always fun to spend time with you guys.
Appreciate it.
And next time I'm not eating because I'm expecting a awful next time I come.
Oh, they're good.
Those are beautiful.
Oh.
And I am a
Ladies and
hamburger-aholic.
Have a good weekend.
Start
Good
tomorrow.
luck.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettors Show. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Hit that subscribe button and join us.